Hare Krishna. Today will be Nectar of Devotion session 4. Correct? This is the 4th class on Nectar of Devotion. 5th. Alright. So before we begin, topic for today, which is characteristics of pure devotional service. I forgot the word pure. I added it and then I grabbed it and then I put devotional service. You can. It's characteristics of pure devotional service. Before we begin, quick recap of what we discussed in the previous class. Anyone remembers what we discussed in the previous class? So we just listed the 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. Anyone without seeing the book, can we say? Alright. Everyone is PhD. Thank you very much. That's the end of the course. Alright. So, but what else did we discuss?
We discussed the 9 stages of Bhakti, Shraddha through...
Correct. What are the 9 stages of Bhakti? Shraddha, by heart. Then? Yes. Then? Very good. I think we'll complete the course faster at this rate.
Combined.
Huh? Combined, joint effort. Exam में individual effort मालूम पड़ेगा. Exam में भी joint effort करोगे. That is how I passed university. Teamwork. Okay. So what is Shraddha?
Before that we discussed stage 0. We discussed the stage 0, which is Ajnata Shruti.
Okay. Alright. So Bhakti begins with Shraddha. Bhakti begins with Shraddha. But what begets Shraddha? Sukriti begets Shraddha. Why do some people remain faithless and why do some people get faith in Bhakti? Why does that happen?
Partiality of devotees.
That happens because of the partiality of devotees. Not only because of the partiality of devotees. There are 2 types of Sukriti. Okay. Again, for people who are new. What are 2 types of Sukriti? There are many types of Sukriti, but which are related to. Huh? So let's put it this way. There is these are the types of Sukriti. Means what? Sukriti in one sense is mercy. Okay? By the mercy. Right? Now, what is Karmonmukhi Sukriti? What is Karmonmukhi Sukriti? Karmonmukhi comes from the word karma plus unmukhi. Karmonmukhi. What does it mean?
Karma is an action.
Okay. Yeah. To help the poor people, if you do something, if you feed the poor people, what kind of Sukriti is that? Karmonmukhi Sukriti is also known as philanthropy in English. Something like that. The mercy, the benefit that, okay, the children have to be kept absolutely silent. They get distracted, not able to concentrate. Karmonmukhi Sukriti means that it's called as it's akin to philanthropy. Or that Sukriti which you can get, that benefit which you can get by doing karma kanda, ritualistic pursuits and philanthropic activities. All these things are coming under Karmonmukhi Sukriti. By Karmonmukhi Sukriti, one can get the heavenly planets. But by Karmanmukhi Shukriti, by doing thousands and thousands of lifetimes, by doing millions of lifetimes of community service, helping the poor people, feeding the poor people, etc., etc., one will not get Bhakti. Okay? By feeding the poor people for millions and millions of lifetimes, one cannot necessarily get Bhakti by that process. So, Karmonmukhi Shukriti will not automatically lead to Bhakti. Right? But Karmonmukhi Shukriti will lead to heavenly planets. It will lead to better quality of material existence. Okay? Better quality of material existence. Jnanonmukhi Shukriti comes from developing speculative knowledge. By developing lots of jnana, like that. But lot of jnana also does not automatically lead to bhakti unless and otherwise that jnana is developed in relation to the pursuit of Krishna consciousness. Okay. What is the jnana that we are developing here? Not jnana. It came out of Nanonmukhi Shukriti. Roti onmukhi Shukriti, not like that. Jnanonmukhi Shukriti. It's coming from jnana. So simply the pursuit of knowledge that doesn't lead to bhakti, still you get some benefit. You will get some detachment. For example, somebody may become very celibate, just because of the jnana that we are not his body. Right? But simple celibacy doesn't lead to bhakti. Somebody may become a vegetarian because of the knowledge of the sinful reaction that happens because of taking non-vegetarian food or eating meat. Okay? So someone may just abstain from meat. So today, this afternoon, we were invited to a program in a suburb called Sydney. I don't know how many people. Yeah, Sydney. So there were totally new people. We did a program in Verinda 2-3 weeks back. And from there, one lady was very enthusiastic. She said, "Hamare ghar mein bhi aise hi program." So then they invited. She said, "मैं अपने friends को लेके आऊँगी." Reasonably good crowd. Okay. So we were talking about the ill effects of meat eating. Somebody asked a question. What is the problem with meat eating? So then, obviously, meat eating, so we'll come to that. Meat eating is coming under this category. Usually people eat meat because they don't kill the animal with their own hands. It is just served on a platter. But when you have to, I told them that if you take the chicken and if you have to systematically slit the throat of the chicken as it is writhing in pain, then normally most people, 70% people probably will not stop. But because it's just being served to you in a plate, you can't. Just like, for example, because we see milk coming from Coles and Safeway, or because we see vegetables and fruits coming from Safeway and Coles, or what is it? Victoria, what is the market? South Melbourne. South Melbourne market. Yeah. South Melbourne market. Therefore, we don't see it coming from the ground. Only the farmer sees it coming from the ground. So he is connected closely to nature and we are disconnected to nature. So we can't see the dependency of an event on a cause. We can't see that connection. We think the cause of fruits is Coles or South Melbourne market. But we can't see that the cause of vegetables is a seed which is on the ground, wherein a rainfall has happened, the ground was fertile, a tree has come, the tree has yielded fruit. So we can't see beyond the immediate cause. So just like that, when everything is readily available on a plate, even if it's meat, you can't see what's going on in the back end. Right? That is one example, and this is another example. You don't know what's going on in the back end. So therefore you are eating, because it just comes to you in the form nicely decorated, but it's a dead body which is nicely decorated, which we are eating. So when you tell people like that, then people say, "Hare Baba, aisa socha hi nahi." And then when you are saying a dead body is rotting inside your stomach of an animal, they can't think like that. They say, "Acha, baat scientifically to barabar hai, dead body hai." Correct? It's a dead body, it's a dead animal which is inside your stomach. They are gobbling up dead animals. So when you present in this way, then people suddenly start thinking differently. And one man, he was very grave, he became. When he said that, किधर किधर program होता है? बहुत जगह होता है program. He told me he is somewhere. So he'll come. Madhavan.
It's not there.
Not that. Okay, anyway, he'll come for your program. I asked him to come to your program because he lives in Flemington. So आपका program.
प्रभु एसेंडन
take care.
एसेंडन बेटा बाजू बाजू
क्या हो गया? अच्छा. How we take that? We'll discuss. Good program. It's interesting part. Okay. नहीं वो भी कर सकते हैं. Why not? But I actually told you. मुझे याद नहीं. Yeah. So when a person gets enlightened, Jnanonmukhi Shukriti, that person may simply know that meat eating is not good. So he is getting that knowledge that by killing I am going to get reaction. But that's all. The jnana that person has. वो ज्ञान लेके that person may live sinless life. But simply living sinless life, will you get bhakti? No. Because Srila Prabhupada, you know the famous example. Someone went to Srila Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I became vegetarian. Prabhupada said, so what? Even monkeys are vegetarian. So to get a human birth, you don't only need to be a vegetarian. Because hippopotamus is also a vegetarian. Elephant is also a vegetarian. So you don't need human birth just to be proud that I am a nice vegetarian. It is just the basic. It's just a basic thing. At least you will, even if you get birth in animal species, it will not be carnivorous animal species. That's all you are ascertaining for yourself. That's what you are ensuring by being only vegetarian. So, by Jnanonmukhi Shukriti, somebody may become that. Or by Jnanonmukhi Shukriti, somebody may realize I am not the body, I am the spirit soul. And then they may have a concept of impersonal liberation. But again, that does not lead to bhakti. So, Karma-mukhi Shukriti and Jnanonmukhi Shukriti will not lead to bhakti. Janma Koti Shukriti na labhyate. Which means what? Janma Koti Shukriti means thousands and thousands of lifetime. Koti Shukriti, crores and crores of Shukriti. Crores and crores of lifetimes you may do that. Janma Koti. But Shukriti na labhyate. You will not get bhakti. However, what could happen is that you could have started off digging a well for the poor people. Okay? Let's say there is some village and you dug a well for the poor people. Right? Ordinarily it will come under the category of community service and welfare, which is Karma-mukhi. But what happened was, one day a sannyasi came there and he drank water from your well. One day a sannyasi came there for a preaching program and he took and then he drank, or he came for some meditation, he drank. And that person is a devotee of the Lord. So he says, oh, may God bless whoever has created this well. And then what happens? The person's devotional life begins from there. That is called as Ajnata. Ajnata means what? What is Pandava Ajnata? Without knowledge. Incognito. Or without knowledge. Something is not known. So without knowing, somebody is getting bhakti from somewhere. Suddenly the program manager. Correct? From nowhere he has come. Or she has come. Right? So that is called as Ajnata Shukriti. Without knowing, unknowingly you have served a devotee. Right? My own situation was like this. I believe that I came through this process of Ajnata Shukriti because my best friend, in engineering and MBA, he became a devotee. And that's how. And I was helping him materially all the time. And then he helped me spiritually. So because he was very close to me. I helped him materially, he gave me back Krishna Consciousness. So I thought it's an example of Ajnata Shukriti because. Okay. Now, Ajnata Shukriti. So that is Ajnata Shukriti. Then there is the desire of the devotee. The desire of the devotee that some other person becomes a devotee. One devotee desires for another person to become a devotee. And therefore the other person becomes a devotee. हाथ धो के पीछे पड़ जाते हैं बीच में. वो chanting करना ही पड़ेगा. Of course we don't preach like that. But still, sometimes we do. sometimes when the relationship is thick, then we tell people, boss, kal se 5 round karna hi padega. But that will happen gradually. And when we know for 100% sure that this person will not, think that this fellow is controlling me, then we sometimes facilitate that. Then the relationship is steady. But till that time, slow and steady. So, the desire of a devotee for someone else to become a devotee makes the other person develops faith in that devotee and bestows bhakti inside the devotee's heart. So people start with that. The other reason for a person doing devotional life in this lifetime is because that person did devotional life in a earlier lifetime. That is called as Bhakti Unmukhi Shukriti. Does it make sense? I am doing bhakti in this lifetime because I did bhakti in the earlier lifetime. Because the Lord says Neha Vikrama Nasosti, which means what? There is no loss or diminution in bhakti. Wherever you stop, then you continue that from there. Correct? So that is, it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, if you remember, there are 2 types of devotees. Devotees who have done bhakti in this lifetime for a short time, and devotees who have done bhakti in this lifetime for a long time. Okay? Anyone remembers from our Bhagavad Gita? What happens to devotees who have done bhakti in this lifetime but for a short time and then left the body? They are born in a family of aristocratic family or in the family of brahmanas, right? So at least they are, 2 things are there. At least they don't have to struggle for money. The other thing is that if you are born in a brahmanical family, at least you will have a chance to be in the mode of goodness. For example, from childhood you will be a vegetarian. Right? ऐसा नहीं कि बाद में vegetarian बना, ऐसा नहीं. So that's something like that. Then what about devotees who have done bhakti for a long period of time and left the body, but पूरा bhakti incomplete रह गया? What happens? Such persons get birth in the family of Vaishnavas. Right? That is how when we meet people who say that we are followers of, we are from this school or that school, what is that? Engale, Vadagale, all those things. So when you say, my forefathers are from Sri Lanka or from whatever, Madhva Sampradaya, whatever, then you get an idea that this person has done devotional life in the last lifetime. That is why he has got birth in that particular family. So that kind of thing is called as Bhakti Unmukhi Shukriti. You have done some devotional life, but it was incomplete in the last lifetime, and you have come in touch with a devotee. So these 3 things establish faith in the heart of a devotee, and that is called as Shraddha. So devotional life begins with Shraddha or faith, which can come because of these activities. And then that faith is cultivated and watered by Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha means what? Association with devotees. Devotees will water that faith. And seeing the faith of other devotees, our own faith also increases. For example, when another devotee is under calamity but still chanting Hare Krishna, then you think that मेरा तो life अच्छा चल रहा है, why should I not chant? सब कुछ तो ठीक है हाथ पैर. When he can chant, why I can't chant?
The only 2 ways of coming to devotional life is Bhakti Unmukhi Shukriti or Adhyatma Shukriti.
Causeless mercy is also there. Where there is no Shukriti, I said no, but it's a desire of a devotee. Causeless mercy, that's called as. I didn't write that on the board, but it's causeless mercy. Srila Prabhupada was asked by the hippies in the United States, हमने ऐसा क्या किया? Obviously they asked in English. Huh?
I have given the qualification to you.
Correct. What qualification Prabhupada we all had to do Krishna Bhakti from hippies who were high on LSD? Prabhupada said, you didn't have any qualification, I made your qualification. So, an Uttam Adhikari can make somebody's qualification to be in.
So that is the process where the bhakti is transferred from the devotee's heart to another.
Yes.
I didn't write that on the bottom, sir.
Causeless
mercy.
We explained this last class.
What is the...
When you discussed Uttamadhikari, you discussed this point.
Alright. And then a devotee, a sadhaka. What is a sadhaka? A sadhaka means a practitioner of bhakti. Who are we? We are all sadhaka. We are practitioners of bhakti. Of the process of bhakti. So a sadhaka then starts associating with devotees. Develops relationship with devotees. and then starts the process of bhajana kriya. Shraddha, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya. Starts chanting the holy names. And as we start chanting the holy names, then what happens? बहुत कुछ होता है उसके बाद. कुछ होता है नहीं, बहुत कुछ होता है. Right? Many things happen, and that is what we are going to discuss today. Okay? When we start chanting, these are the things that are going to happen. These characteristics of devotional service will soon start manifesting in our lives. This is the stage of anartha nivritti. What is the next stage after anartha nivritti?
Nishtha.
Nishtha. Nishtha means firmly fixed in your sadhana. ऐसा नहीं कभी हाँ कभी ना नहीं. One day you have chanted, 2 days then कल ऑफिस में काम था, तीसरा दिन बीवी बीमार थी, चौथा दिन पेरेंट्स का फोन कॉल आता है ना, रात तक टाइम ही नहीं मिलता है. So these are all the various reasons. Okay, we have to come out of all this and become fixed. कुछ भी हो जाए, तूफान सुनामी आ रहा है, ठीक है 16 rounds पहले करता हूँ, बाद में आना. No, it's like that. Correct? So it takes time to come. Some people come very fast, some people take time. Okay, so this is called as nishtha. Nishtha means you become very predictable in your devotional practice. Everything, every aspect of devotional service. When you are doing deity worship, you are very regular. When you are coming for a Bhakti Vriksha class, then you are very regular. ऐसा नहीं गायब रहे 2 हफ्ता 3 हफ्ता, then again you surface in another 4 week गायब. Not like that. That is not called as nishtha. If we do like that, then what will happen? You will not progress fast. Simple. थोड़ा कुछ होगा progress, you will not progress fast. So Srila Prabhupada said, there is no holiday in Bhakti. Bhakti is the only profession where there is no activity, where there is no break. So Sukham Kartum Avyayam. In Bhagavad Gita 9.2 it is mentioned, devotional life has got so many characteristics. Raja Vidya, Pavitra, Idam Pratyaksha Avagam Dharmya, Sukham Kartum Avyayam. Avyayam means क्या है? कोई व्यक्ति नहीं है उस प्रोसेस में. There is no break. हाँ. Like in one of the programs we have कभी chant करते हो, weekend में करता हूँ. So weekend activity नहीं है, because death can come on the weekday also. So nishtha means steady, fixed. कुछ भी हो जाए, then my sadhana will never change. It also means that we get up at a consistent time in the morning. So many aspects of that. Not that कभी उठे, कभी नहीं उठे. Not like that. So why I am emphasizing so much on nishtha? Any idea why? True. No, not necessarily. No? Yes, in one sense. But even when you are a preacher, then sometimes you cannot guarantee that we are getting up bang at that time, finishing our rounds bang at that time. ऐसा होता नहीं. Why I am talking so much about nishtha? Because Srila Prabhupada writes that Klesha Agni manifests and Shubhada, which are the first 2 characteristics of devotional service, manifest fully. मतलब manifest होता है, but manifest fully at the stage of nishtha. We have to remember this point very clearly. Klesha Agni and the next characteristic Shubhada. Shubhada means what? All auspiciousness. They manifest fully at the stage of nishtha. तो जब तक वो consistent platform में नहीं आते हैं, we cannot say, प्रभु आपने तो बोला relief from material distress, 4 दिन से प्रभु लगा हुआ chanting करने में, it doesn't work like that. One has to come to the platform of 16 rounds, one has to become steady in the process, and then you will see all these things manifesting fully. But you will see all these things manifesting partly, even if you are chanting partly. You will see.
What does that mean? Lot of problems.
We will.
Lot of problems.
पूरा 100% problem जाने से
आएगा कि जाएगा?
It's a very good question actually. It's a very good question. We will answer that. I'll answer it towards the end of the question. Remind me.
What was the question?
You repeat. नहीं बोलेंगे. Golden question. he was asking that if you come to the platform of Nishtha, ज़्यादा problem आएंगे या problem जाएंगे? So it's a good question.
Also the 6 characters, they are pure devotional service. And I remember one time we were discussing that unfortunately we don't perform pure devotional service as well. So fully, yeah.
That's why I emphasize. I knew you'll ask this question. Fully. Why? Yeah. Have we not experienced Klesha? We have all experienced Klesha. I remember when I had that accident in Sri Lanka, I fully manifested. Klesha was fully there in front of me. How the Lord protected. It was impossible to survive on that day. Anyway, okay, so the first characteristics of devotional life is Klesha, which is what we will talk about today, the next 1 hour. Okay, Klesha Agni means what? Any idea? Very good. You have read and come on the board. Relief from material distress. That is Klesha Agni. So devotional life, when one comes to the platform of Nishtha, one gets complete relief. This aspect manifests fully for a devotee. Now it is mentioned, when you talk about relief from material distress or material suffering, then it is important to also understand what causes material suffering. It's a logical question, right? What causes material suffering? So this is nicely mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion and in the Waves of Devotion also, that there are 3 things which cause suffering. What are the 3 things which cause suffering? Papa, Bija and okay. What is it? Hang on. So there is a Bija mentioned here, and then there is a Bija which will come here. So I don't mix them up. Right now, just understand that at the highest level, Papa, Bija, followed by Vidya. Where is Prabhuji was going to come? Look at Prabhuji. कहाँ है आपका? जो आने वाले थे क्लास में? So Papa, Bija and Avidya at the highest level. So we'll come down slowly each of these. Let us first focus on Papa. So in Bhagavad Gita, it was mentioned a person. What is that verse? Anyone remembers? A person who does not know how to act, who is acting on his whims. Na sukham. What is it? Na sukham na param gati. You remember that? Sam avapnoti na sukham na param gati. Anyone remember that?
Yah Sastri vidhi musrajya.
Correct.
Correct. Na siddhi avapnoti na sukham na param gati.
Correct. What is the translation of that?
One who renounces the scriptural injunctions and acts on his whims.
Correct.
Doesn't achieve sukham.
Very good. One who renounces scriptural injunctions. Please hear carefully. One who renounces or one who discards. One who discards scriptural injunctions and acts on his own whims. For example, somebody will say, this is the process of doing bhakti, and he says, नहीं सब तो ठीक है, but अपना style में हम करेंगे bhakti. What is that called as? That is called as you are discarding the scriptural injunctions and thinking that you are a freelancer who can invent your own process. Freelance contractor होता है ना, like that, and I will do it on my own. This is not like that, superannuation company where you can manage your own super fund with your own methods. No, it doesn't work like that. Here we have to do bhakti in deference to the scriptures. That is why again and again the process of Anusankirtanam is specified. Anukirtanam. Right? What is that verse? Etan nirvidyamanana
Chadam Agudoyam
Yoginam Nirvan Nirnitam Hare Nama Anukirtanam. Only Kirtanam is not mentioned. Hare Nama Anukirtanam. Anukirtanam means what? Bhakti has to be done following the footsteps of the Acharyas who have taught us how to do Bhakti. Not that I am inventing my own method. Right? So we don't invent our methods. So a person who invents his own methods of doing things, who discards scriptural injunctions, okay, such a person, na sukham na param gati, neither will he attain happiness in this world, neither will he attain perfection, nor he will attain the ultimate abode, spiritual abode. It will not happen to such a person. He will just be floating. So, one who discards scriptural injunctions will not progress in bhakti. Somebody was asking in a program, what is papam? Papam kya hai? Correct? So the usual example what you will give? The usual example is given of the gun. Right? I have a gun in my hand. Government has sent me to Kargil border. Bola ja, desh ka raksha kar ja. Then I take and then I go and then some militants are coming and then I okay, and then when I come back, what do I get? Salute. And if I think gun से हमारा salute मिलता है, चल neighbor को उड़ाता हूँ, बहुत नाटक है, सोसाइटी में परेशान करता है. Then I go and say same काम, आपने वो दिया था, मिलेगा, क्या मिलेगा? 302, सजा है मौत. Right? So therefore, the activity externally may look the same, but the result is different. So what is papa? What is punyam? How do we understand? We have to understand only through the scriptures. What is the reference point? The scriptures, the constitution. So the interpretation of the law for a given situation can be done only by people who are experts, who have completely understood and realized that law. But they also allude to the constitution only. Ultimately it all comes in the way the law is constituted. So they have to refer to the books. One cannot just give a judgment. Oh, I don't like this fellow's face. Chalo, change tomorrow. It will not work like that. Right? It has to be in reference to the scriptures. Okay. So therefore, what is papam is defined in the scriptures. So when we explain, so this is a gun example. That is it. The other example is, using a scalpel. Is knife good or bad? Depends. Sabzi bhi kaat sakte ho, prashadam ke liye kisi ka gala bhi kaat sakte ho. It depends on how you use it. So in most situations in life, there is duality of papam and not papam. The knife can be wielded by the murderer as well as the doctor. The doctor can remove a tumor with the knife and give life, and the murderer with the same knife can take away life. Right? So in life, many situations are grey. Right? But there are 4 things which are categorized as papam under any circumstance. What are the 4 things? We all know. Meat eating. There is no merit in meat eating, right? You cannot say depends. ऐसा नहीं होता. Meat eating is papam and any circumstance, because dharma stands on 4 pillars. What are the 4 pillars on which dharma stands? Mercy, austerity, cleanliness, and truthfulness. Okay. So meat eating destroys the quality of mercy. Even if you know all this must come quickly to your mind. Because questions will come in programs. You should quickly be able to answer this. All this should flow logically. Mercy is killed by the quality of meat eating. Mercy and compassion. Austerity, the quality of austerity is killed by taking intoxication. The quality of cleanliness is destroyed by illicit sex. And the quality of truthfulness is destroyed by gambling. That is why these are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavad. If you can't remember, then use MACT error. You know MSCT? Anyone knows MSCT Bhopal? No one knows? I remember as MSCT Bhopal. Maulana Azad College of Technology. You know what? The Regional Engineering College of Bhopal. MSCT. Regional College, you know? I remember there was one. I had some friends from there. Huh? Maulana Azad Technology. Okay. So I remember M for mercy, A for austerity, C for cleanliness, and T for truthfulness. Huh? Mercy. MCAT we are. Remember MCAT. Mercy, austerity, cleanliness, and truthfulness. And therefore, these activities of meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling are universally declared by the scriptures as sinful under any circumstance. Okay. And they qualify as
I've heard that when you said under any circumstance, I heard it was, I guess, Radha Maharaj lecture in which he was saying that if a person is stranded in a desert, and if for example, for example, his life is maintained out of starvation, and someone gives him something to eat at that time, it's not vegetable, it's meat, then it depends on the consciousness with which you are having the food. Is it to sort of prolong so that you can do your service or is it for sense level?
Those are exceptions.
So,
but they come in right now we are talking about principles of dharma, not principles of bhakti.
okay.
Under the principles of dharma, you are wrong. But under the principles of bhakti, you are okay. Even Yudhishthira Maharaj gambled. That means he should have got to hell actually. And he is Dharmaraj Yudhishthira.
Prabhu, we didn't hear the question.
Huh? So he says that if you are in Siberia, for example, I mean, I'm not exactly repeating a question, but if you are in some place where could be Kaneka available and you are doing book distribution in Siberia, okay, and there is no food etc., and you are going to collapse now, right? But you want to continue doing, then you see a dead animal there, can you eat? It's an exceptional situation. In fact, Srila Prabhupada said, better than eating vegetarian till here and sleeping whole day, better if you eat non-veg and do something practical. Bhakti. Right? Otherwise we will only, in Tamil it is Kappa Valaradu. But vegetarian mother. Better you to go out and do some practical work. And if you are in such a situation where you are going to collapse and you can't serve Krishna, then because what is above all these rules, what is the highest rule? Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna and serve Him, the highest rule. Okay. There is no rule above that. Okay. So obviously there are practical adjustments in very grave situations. But that is not the normal rule. Normally people don't eat, many people say, आप मीट क्यों खाते हो? Vegetable में कुछ है ही नहीं. That is bakwas. कुछ भी है नहीं. You really believe vegetarian में कुछ नहीं है? So that is not acceptable. So we will discuss the rule and there are exceptions which we will discuss later. So papa. Now what happens is, when a person engages in sinful action, papa is called as what? Sinful action. When a person engages in sinful action, then there are two types of reactions which come out of sinful action. Two types of reactions. One reaction is called as a prarabdha reaction and the other reaction is called as the prarabdha reaction. When a person does sinful action, two types of reaction come. Aprarabdha and prarabdha. Aprarabdha means unmanifest reaction. What is an example of an unmanifest reaction? Fool hua hai and nobody has caught you till now. Correct? That's one example, a mundane example. But you know that ek din pakade jaoge and punishment is in store for you in the future. That is called as aprarabdha, which means the reaction for that sin has not manifest in your life yet, but it is stored for a future. And what separates today from the future? Kal, time. Okay. Sometimes that's why we said na, Kal aapko dekh lega. Samay aapko, no, the Hindi movies, dialogues are there. There will be time aayega. So that is Kal. Kal, because the action you have done now, maybe you would have not caught now, but with time, then something will happen and you will have to pay for whatever you did now. So the reaction for a sin which is stored in the future is called as aprarabdha. That is called as unmanifest reaction stored in the future, and it is described that aprarabdha is something which is stored for a future lifetime. Whereas whatever manifests in this very lifetime is called as prarabdha. Whatever manifests in this very lifetime is called as prarabdha. For example, if we are all coughing, that is called as because it is manifesting right now. Correct? Prarabdha karma, because of material body we have got. Right? So in this context, there are certain interesting points which we will see.
Our elders used to say that even the material body which we have got now is because of our prarabdha karma.
Correct. Our material body is the
What we have got
perfect immediate demonstration. So if you want to know if you have got prarabdha karma or not, all we have to do is go and look into a mirror. Srila Prabhupada said, if you find a material body around your soul, that means you have sinned in the past lifetime. So that is proof of prarabdha karma.
That can be a good thing as well, because human body is utilized properly, then it's
That is the best use of a bad bargain, Prabhupada said. Best is not to get a material body. If you merely get, then at least do some service and go back to work. Use it in Krishna service. So prarabdha and aprarabdha come from the word arabdha. Arabdha means what? Beginning. So it's the beginning of suffering. शुरुआत. कुछ अभी, कुछ बाद में. Like that. Now it is mentioned, everyone is clear so far? So it is mentioned that bhakti, the process of bhakti is so powerful that it can cure aprarabdha as well as dono negative. Okay? Both will get cured. So the process of bhakti is so powerful. Let us take example. Sorry.
प्रारब्ध भी जाता है.
हाँ समझे. प्रारब्ध भी जाता है, अप्रारब्ध भी जाता है. Bhakti can remove both. Let's take the example of how bhakti can cure prarabdha. You want to participate? Anyone wants to say? How bhakti can cure prarabdha?
Ajamin's example. Ajamin's example, when he took the name of Lord Narayan. Okay. Then all of a sudden, Vishnu was there. So soul was being taken by everyone, but because he took the name of Narayan, Vishnu was came and saved him.
You can say like that. But if you, Ajamin's case is more applicable to aprarabdha than for prarabdha. But you can say that. That is prarabdha also. But Ajamin actually, if you see, he suffered quite a lot. And then he took to chanting the holy name of the Lord. Okay. Yeah.
Token reactions, not the real suffering, but just the
Okay. Yes.
I think
Prabhupada also mentioned.
Correct.
I think any example where a devotee is undergoing a suffering and that suffering goes away, that is an example. That could, because the suffering which is suffering.
That's what he was saying. So it is mentioned that in bhakti sometimes, in fact it is mentioned that in bhakti we get a token reaction from the Lord. That means the sin was very heavy, for which the punishment would have been very grave. But because you came in the process of bhakti, raste mein chhod gaya aadmi. Correct? It should have been much grave for that sin. Something very serious could have happened, but it went off with something light. So in that sense, bhakti controls prarabdha. You can say that.
Suppose the people who are actually not following like devotional life but are just like normal sakras, this kind of thing. But if some disaster comes and they are festivities and that. And they say, Bhagavan can be possible. So how?
That is exactly what I was saying.
So how far is that? Is it just because they are the karmic thing is not? That's the karma.
Correct. Many times even non-devotees, if you read a book called as near-death-experiences.com, if you go to that website, you will find that people have died, gone back, come back to the operating theatre, right? And they are saying that I went, but then two people discussed and said that, this is not the right time for you. You have to go back, and then they have come back, things like that. Of course, that's not Shastra Brahman. The website is not Shastra Brahman. Yeah, but so your point is right. So for a non-devotee, for a person, non-devotee in the sense means one who is not practicing sadhana bhakti at all. In one sense, nobody is a non-devotee because everyone has simply forgotten that they are devotees. But one who is inimical towards the Lord, who is insensitive, callous to devotional life, atheist or whatever, then for them also sometimes they get saved in so many situations. Somebody may save them also in a calamity. But that is not the interference of the Lord. That is their own karma saving.
So
the interference of the Lord only comes for a devotee. Let's see that how it happens. And answer that as we go along.
How one can understand that and distinguish them?
You don't have to understand and distinguish. Whatever happens, be thankful to the Lord and the devotee's mercy. In fact, we don't even have to say that the Lord saved me. That's why we always say what? Vaishnava Kripa saved me. Which is true. The devotee's prayers for me saved me. There is no arrogance. If you say the Lord saved me, there will be some tinge of arrogance is there in that. Saying that my Bhagwan ne mere ko save kiya. That means the Lord is watching me and I have done wonderful. It almost indirectly you could have communicated, or your mind may be giving you some suggestions like that. So Vaishnava's Kripa, I saved. Okay? So Vaishnava Kripa. So whatever good happens, you can safely attribute it to Vaishnava Kripa, and that is not artificial. That is actually the philosophy. When Vaishnavas pray for each other, the Lord reciprocates. That is why that is called as reservation quota. By merit quota, nobody is going to go back to Godhead. Very few people will go back. Correct? After chanting, if we think the strength of my chanting, I will go back to Godhead. Hands up if anyone thinks like that. It is very difficult. But Vaishnava Bhakti will go back. Now, there are very good examples of how Bhakti destroys prarabdha and karma. So it is mentioned that one of the symptoms of prarabdha karma is the family in which a devotee is, the family in which the sadhaka is born. Right? Now if you see, many of the spiritual masters, many of them who are there, many people who are from Western countries, okay, if you see their parents were not devotees. They were born in many of them were born of low families. But today they are all Tridandi Sannyasi Goswamis. So if you take the snapshot few years back, many years back, in the 1970s, okay, before they met Srila Prabhupada, what would you call that? That's prarabdha karma, in one sense. Of course, you never know who is participating in Prabhupada Gita. That is a completely different subject matter, okay, about which none of us can comment, right? But if you see it shastrically, technically if you see it, then it's some people were, into rock music and LSD and so many things, right? But then what happened? Just because Prabhupada was a touchstone, they came in touch with Srila Prabhupada, and then suddenly, from that low birth, that is called as what? There are four: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and below that what are there? Malechhas, Yavanas and Chandalas. Chandalas is the lowest birth. Chandala means what? Dog eater. Right? And they eat dogs. Hot dog. Garam Gupta. What Chandalas? So Chandala actually means dog eater. And this is a fact in today's world. People eat anything that moves. Right? Prarabdha means that you have got birth. You have got a body, this body, through a Malechha's Chandala womb, you have been born. Mother was a meat eater, cigarette smoker, drunkard, got born. But you came in touch with pure devotee and you have perfected your life in this very lifetime. And now you are qualified to do yagyas which otherwise a Chandala is not qualified. So in this regard, I'll give you 2-3 verses. Request you all to go back and study these verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. The first one is, this is all from, two of them are from Devahuti's conversations with Lord Kapila. The second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, please note of Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.18. 2.4.18. The verse is Kirata, Puna, Andhra, Pulenda, Pulakasha, Abhira, Shumbha, Yavana, Kashadaya, Ye Anye cha Papa Yad Apashraya Ashraya, Shudhyanti, Tasmai, Prabhave. This is Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.18. What does it mean? It means, it describes the various types of fallen birth one can have. Okay. Kirata. Okay. Andhra. Please accept Pulinda, Telangana. भगवान ने ऑलरेडी बोल दिया आंध्रा. Okay. Kirata, Huna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulakasha, Abhira, Shumbha, Yavana, Kashadaya. All these people and even others addicted to sinful acts. Even others, other type of people. ये लोग भी और ये अन्य से पापा अपआश्रय. So even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord due to His being the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances to the Lord. So, birth is not a disqualification for doing bhakti. When we go back to India, sometimes our relatives will tell, "Oh, my son has taken initiation." Huh? Who is Guru? He's American. Indian kadakilya. They will say, Indian name like that. Ayer jati so many. And why is Vadya sir there? They'll talk like that. It's a typical conversation. Correct? India mein koi nahi mila. Correct. This happens for everything. Even for marriage. You marry outside your caste, you are asked. These are all conversations because in India we are very attached to our caste, our state, our this, our that, and which is only for one lifetime. That's it. But it's not our eternal identity at all. I'm not encouraging something, but we are too fanatic about all this. Okay. So what happens is, when Westerners are seen doing yajna and devotional activities, people get bewildered. So it is mentioned that prarabdha karma, imperfections because of one's birth, can be easily overcome by the process of bhakti. Though one is born in such a low class family, because of one's devotional life, one can uplift himself, change, alter those behaviors which you do. Behaviors are a symptom of a person born in a low class family. For example, you know that pump house में झाड़ा करता है ना लोग पानी में ऐसा करके like that, वो lady आमची आए they will pick up the balti and they will run like that. So there are typical symptoms of low class behavior. Even in South India, you will say they will abuse you and something, they will use some words which you will know that you can't even talk to them. But such a person also, when he takes to bhakti, can become peaceful. Right? So birth is not a disqualification. So Lord tells in Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, the Lord says, Chatur Varnam Maya Shrishtham Guna Karma Vibhagashaka. Which means that whether someone is a Brahmana, whether someone is a Kshatriya, whether someone is Vaishya or Shudra, is not dependent on one's birth. The son of a Brahmana need not be a Brahman. The son, just as the son of a doctor need not be a doctor. The son of a high court judge need not be a high court judge. Like that. There is no such rule. So many people say, "Hum log bhi brahman." Like that. Like I was hearing one Shamanand Prabhu's, Radha Gopinath Prabhu's lecture. One taxi wala said, "Maharaj ji, hum bhi brahman hai." He said he was driving from Chowpatty to somewhere, in one of the suburbs, and then he removed from inside and showed a thread which was blackish brown in color. कभी नहाता भी है क्या पता नहीं. हम भी ब्राह्मण हो साहब. He said that. Which means he is not even taking bath and he is calling himself Brahman because he has been given the thread. It comes for 50 paise. If you go to a place called Matunga, you will get 50 paise में मिलेगा thread. Okay. So that is not Brahman. Brahman means by guna karma vibhagasha. The division is by qualities, not by birth. And this is Bhagavad Gita clearly it has written. Still we interpret. Therefore, one can change his gun. One cannot change his birth. But Brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra, Shudra is not dependent on birth. Okay? We have to really understand. This point, दिमाग के अंदर जाके दिन में समझ लेना चाहिए. Otherwise, it will be theoretical. Again, we will start saying, "Yeah, Western log." We will understand it theoretically, but still we will start talking in that way. Some people also say, "Kuch Indian Guru Maharaj hoga to acha hoga." People talk like that. That is nonsense. Guru has got nothing to do with Indian, American, Australian. How does it matter? For example, my Bhagavatam teacher is Australian. I have learned everything in Srimad Bhagavatam under Keshav Guru. What is wrong in that? Is there anything wrong with that? Obviously, he is such an exalted devotee, exemplary devotee, such a disciplined devotee. He is my Shiksha Guru. I have learned under him for so many years. My Guru Maharaj is also American. So what? Right? So many Indian disciples are surrendered. Acharya Pada, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, Prabhupada said he is an intimate associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is also American. So it doesn't matter. So this mindset we have to remove. Incidentally, if we are attracted to an Indian Swami, which is fine. Sometimes dil ka rishta ho jata hai. But we should not. This should not be a criteria for discrimination. Otherwise, we are internally already doing aparadha. So don't judge anyone by the externals, by the color of their skin. Okay. So that is one. There is one more very nice Shastra Praman. You can note down Srimad Bhagavatam 3.33.6, 3rd canto, 33rd chapter, verse 6. The verse is Yan Namadheya Shravana Anukirtanad Yan Pravanad Yat Smaranad Api Kvachit Swado Api Sadhya Savanaya Kalpate Puta Punaste Bhagavan Darshanat. I wish I could have added this, but I didn't get time. Sorry about reading.
Verse number
3:33:6. Okay, please understand the translation. Please understand here the translation carefully. That's very important. To say nothing of the spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face. Even a person born in a family of dog eaters immediately becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. Even if a person is born in the family of dog eaters, he becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances or even remembers him. Such a person is qualified for Vedic sacrifices. Okay. Right? So this has to be understood carefully. It doesn't mean that there is a devotee who is also eating dog meat, but he has started coming for our Bhaktivedanta programs and he is chanting some rounds, and therefore we say, Prabhu, even if a person is dog eater, please come to the temple and perform sacrifices. Come to the altar. No, obviously it cannot be implemented like that. It doesn't mean like that. It means that a person, when he is born in such a low class family, what will happen? His behavior will be like that of a low class person. But when he comes in contact with devotees, he will develop the qualities of devotees. Just like if you put, Prabhupada gives a famous example. If you put an iron rod, you have done Smiti, forging. In engineering first year we used to do that. Bhakti mein laga ke, anvil mein maar ke usko shape dene, like that. So when you put that rod inside that charcoal, burning charcoal, then what will happen? That rod which is black in color, iron rod, it will become red hot and it will take the quality of fire. So when even a person who is a low class person, when he is put in the association of devotees, he will imbibe the qualities of devotees. He will start talking the language of devotees. You will understand it that way. Correct? Because I am coming from Bombay, my language is completely different, trust me. When I used to start talking itself, it was not Prabhu and Mataji and all. Forget it. It was something else we used to start with. I don't want to describe it. Right? But when you come in contact with devotees, then your सब कुछ change हो जाता है. Everything is changed after that. Okay? So such a person whose behavior is changed, whose actions have changed, then by virtue of that, then he gets the merit to sit and perform yajnas. So this is a very good example of how Bhakti destroys Prarabdha. Prarabdha means that which has already manifested. The body has already manifested. The body is the best example of Prarabdha karma. Our birth is the best example of Prarabdha karma. That can change. In fact, there is one nice, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is giving a nice example. He said, this identity in India is so hard, even sometimes some genuine saintly personalities also outside the Sampradaya, they also cannot understand this. Okay. So, once during Srila Prabhupada's time, one Western devotee was serving the Lord. He was running around and doing a lot of services for the Lord. And then one Swami came there, who was not from an Indian bodied person, not from ISKCON. He came and he saw this devotee so nicely serving the Lord. So he called this devotee and said, very nice, I am so happy you are serving Lord Krishna so nicely. In the next lifetime, you will get birth as a Brahmana. This was a statement of ignorance. Right? So the devotee, this Western, he couldn't understand. So he went and asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Swami told me like that I am serving so nicely, in the next lifetime I will become Brahmana. So Prabhupada said, go and tell that Swami, that you are also serving so nicely, Lord Krishna. In the next lifetime you will become an ISKCON devotee. And preach all over the world that you are not the body. Right? So, this is so deep inside our consciousness. Even after years of bhakti, it doesn't go away. This discrimination. So, never judge a devotee by the externals. Whether he is black, white, long hair, short hair. Some devotees, yes, generally we recommend devotees not to keep moustache. Because Vaishnavas don't keep that. But it doesn't mean if a devotee has a if it doesn't mean a devotee has a mustache, that means something is wrong with his devotional life. It's got nothing to do with external. Even Bhaktivedanta Maharaj had a beard and mustache. So we don't judge devotees by externals. Okay. So is it clear how Bhakti destroys Prarabdha? This may come in your exam. Please hear carefully all these things. Questions will come. Yeah, go ahead.
Doubt here he is saying that Bhakti is something which changes Prarabdha. But then anything, a lot of things can change Prarabdha, like even going to work and doing business or so many things. By doing all these activities, Prarabdha can also change. Like if a person doesn't go to work, then he's going to die with hunger or a lot of financial.
No.
By going to office, no. Just trying to understand the difference. I'm not clear to this.
Correct. But the answer is very clearly that whatever is destined to you is what is going to come to you by virtue of your karma. But the Lord says, karmaya adhikarasya ma phaleshu. He says you have to do your duty anyway. So in office, we still have to work, because by work we will get purified. That's what we learned in Bhagavad Gita. By doing work, we get purified. We have to be fixed in our ashram. If you have taken Grihastha ashram, you cannot say, Brahmachari is there. Better you take the bag and go to office and do the job. Correct? So bhakti is not escapism from work or responsibilities. My devotee, therefore I need not work. That is not. In fact, as a devotee, we have to be even more careful when we work, more efficient than anyone else. So that nobody can say, "Ye bhakta iske liye kuch kaam ka nahi raha hai." So we are top in our education. We are top everywhere. We are top. Of course, we don't chase. We don't chase the benefits that come out of our job. We are not saying that, okay, isko do ek hi vice president hai, let me try. No? We don't work for that. We do our job properly, that's what I am saying. But we don't go back to our boss and say that, boss, ye promotion agar nahi mila to then forget it. I am not going to work for you anymore. We don't do all those things. We do our job. Aaya. Sometimes even if it comes, then we consult our spiritual master. Should I accept this role which is coming to me or not? And then we go by what is spiritual master. We consult our authorities that you have been given this promotion, but then you are asked to go somewhere where you know your devotional life is not going to be good. So who cares? Say, sorry, thank you very much, I don't want a promotion. Apne paas hi rakho. Hare Krishna. I am very happy right now in my life. At the end of the day, we don't compromise anything. We don't compromise bhakti for anything. We don't trade it for anything in this world. Nothing is more worth than protecting our devotional creeper, which we have carefully cultivated over the years. Nothing is more valuable than that in this world. Nothing is going to save us at the time of greatest danger other than the Bhakti Lata creeper and the Vaishnava relationships that we have developed. The opportunity to serve in this great temple, this congregation, you will not find this in other places. There are many people who became devotees in Melbourne. So, because people who have become devotees in Melbourne will not understand what is the value of Melbourne. I became a devotee outside of Melbourne, therefore I am able to appreciate what is the value of Melbourne, because I have seen other congregations. I have been to other countries, I have been to other congregations. It doesn't work like this. It works very nicely, much better here. This is a fabulous congregation. And I am not saying this, it has been said by authorities like Burijan Prabhu also. It's not only it's my realization. That's why when I came here on a 3-month project, now it is 10 years in Australia. Because of this congregation. The kind of services that we can get here, we cannot get even in some other temples in this world so easily. ऐसा मिल नहीं जाएगा service. 80 service, ये वो सब नहीं. It is one of the best temples in this world. 100%. 100%. No doubt. There are other temples which are also very good. We are not going to rank temples, but there are other congregations also where there is a nice network of devotees. Okay. Internationally, I have not seen or heard, but I have always heard devotees from outside saying that nothing like. Recently, Karuna Avatar, you went to, and then you realized how our temple is different.
There is one devotee who used to be there, Krishna Consciousness. He still actually opens Melbourne website even after 10 years. He listens to lectures and looks after what's happening in Melbourne.
And our temple is being recognized internationally also. Many devotees say Melbourne congregation is very, very good. If you are abroad, it is a very nice place. So not to trade for any promotion or job or career. Devamrit Maharaj gave this nice instruction which I have tried to follow till now at least. I hope I will follow it. That whatever allurements you get in your material life, prestige, power, position, if it's coming in the way of your devotional service, don't accept it. Just first duty is to protect devotional service. Bhakti sir, Hindi vise tel lagane ka. First duty is to protect this congregation, very important. These services, that is what we do.
What happens if actually as a business staff or something, the devotion service is also maintaining feel that your job is somewhere.
Then you can do it.
Yes.
Yeah, so if for example we lose our job in Melbourne and we are only getting job in Adelaide for example, then what will you do? Then you can't do anything. Then you have to go. But what I will not do is Adelaide में $20,000 ज़्यादा दे रहे हैं. जाऊँ क्या? That we don't do. We are not greedy. We don't take such decisions. Obviously, if you don't get a job here, what? You have to survive. And you have to go out. But again, that is the Lord's design for us. We don't change it. Chasing money. The lure of the lucre, they say, in English. We are not chasing that. Alright, so we completed discussion on Prarabdha. So Prarabdha is anything which has already manifested. So the suffering which you are currently having in your life, which you are experiencing, is called as Prarabdha. The second type of suffering which comes when we do Papa is reaction which is stored for a future day. Now it is mentioned, and that is called as unmanifest sinful reaction. वो जो manifest नहीं हुआ, अभी दिखाई नहीं दे रहा वो pain. For example, it's like a patient who is in anesthesia, जिसका दांत निकाल दिया, pull out a tooth, and till the time you have that, what is that? What is the tablet? Dentist, what tablet? Compiflam. Brufen or Neurofen, whatever. So till the time you are not feeling anything, but बाद में निकल गया तो फिर full force में आता है. So unmanifest reaction, you are not feeling anything now. It is stored in the future. Reaction is stored in the future. So it is mentioned just like a blazing fire. A blazing fire. In Melbourne we have that summer mein we have what is that? Forest fire. Bush fire. So like a blazing fire consumes enormous amount of fuel. Fuel is what? Every twig is a fuel in one sense. Every dry twig which contributes to the fire, which accentuates the fire. Every such contributor is a fuel. So just like a blazing fire consumes unlimited amounts of fuel coming on its path, that way Bhakti can destroy unlimited amounts of aprarabdha karma. Bhakti can destroy unlimited amounts of aprarabdha karma. And many times you would experience that go and show your hand to the astrologer before you became devotee. Astrologer would have told you, and then after devotional life, you find that नहीं ये तो हुआ ही नहीं अच्छा है. उसने बोला था ऐसा होगा. Doesn't mean he was wrong. It means that now you have become a devotee. So this changes when you become a devotee. Our fate changes. We were destined for something, and then the Lord decides, no, take it. I don't want this. You जीते जमराज दूर रहो अभी नहीं. So Bhakti has the power to change our future suffering. It won't manifest.
I think you are talking about the pure Bhakti. You are talking about the Bhakti or
Fully.
Because I still remember Bhanu was talking about the astrology and Sastras to be followed, right? And we have seen practically people suffer at all.
So it doesn't mean that everything will be. It doesn't mean that everything will be hunky-dory in our life. Bhakti शुरू हो गया, boss आया बोला, boss कहाँ था तू इतना दिन? Vice President का job is waiting for you. It will not work like that. And Bhakti is not done for that. Bhakti is not done for that. That is not the reason for doing Bhakti. Or it doesn't mean that what is that? पैसे की बारिश होगी घर में, छत फटेगा, ऊपर से dollar will flow down. All this may happen in movies. That Santoshi Mata Mahavita, the director is giving music, then Pura, the gold coins here. No, it's not like that. It may be, if Lord wants to give something, He can give. If Lord wants to take, He can take away everything. If He wants to give, then our two hands are not enough for whatever He wants to give us. But Bhakti is not aimed at this. Yes, Prabhu.
In fact, better that it doesn't happen that way, because when we start enjoying, we start seeping down from that seriousness.
Correct. So the Lord will, when we come under the daira of bhakti, under the domain of bhakti, then the Lord will give that what is required for us to progress, and the Lord will remove that which is an impediment to our progress. Does it make sense? When we become devotee, the Lord will give, if He has to give us money, He will give us that so that we can progress, so that bina paise ka chinta kiye, you can do your work. He can give that. Or if too much money is preventing you, because too much time being spent in Myers and what is that? Chaston Shopping Center. I myself was there yesterday. Too much kiya. Then material sense gratification, he knows how to take that away also. So we don't do sense gratification. We don't use our Lakshmi to upgrade our, to live a lavish material life. Devotees do not do that even if they can afford it. Even if they can afford it, we try to live simple. If you can do without a branded shirt, okay. If you have to wear for office, okay, wear, but don't do too much. ऐसा नहीं कि एक color फिर एक जूता उसके लिए. I went to Churchill Shopping Center. I saw people buy goodness. Complete chaotic condition. The way people are buying.
Another question. How do we understand, Bhakti, of course it will remove the prarabdha and aprarabdha. What about the Vedic instruction about the karma kanda? Because will it actually remove the prarabdha or aprarabdha? Because Vedics are also talking about all this ritualistic.
Good question. Good question. Okay. So the question is, does karma kanda alleviate suffering? That's his question. Does karma kanda alleviate suffering? What is the answer? Okay, how many people say yes?
To certain extent.
So what is the mystery? What is it talking about?
It does alleviate. No, you say no, it doesn't alleviate.
The futile effort, it might alleviate a specific known reaction.
Okay. So if you hear Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj's seminar, he mentions, and Prabhupada also written, that karma kanda does alleviate, it can help alleviate prarabdha karma or even aprarabdha to some extent. It can help. For example, many people say that तुमको ये दोष है and तुम इसका opal का ring पहनो. Somebody told me during marriage, opal stone you should wear out. Few days I wore, after that better, the suffering is better. And half the time you are worried कोई चोरी कर लेगा. We want to live life also. Too many stones here, this ring, that ring. There was a gold chain. That also I was worried 24 hours. Train में कोई मार लेगा. सब निकल के मार देता वाले चाहिए नहीं बैंक में. ये कोई चोरी नहीं करेगा. Nobody will come. Okay. So yes, karma kanda has the power, because at the end of the day you are invoking the mercy of the demigods, who may then also request the Lord to interfere with our karma. So yes, to some extent karma kanda can alleviate suffering. However, the main reason why we don't alleviate our suffering using karma kanda?
For the merits.
Huh?
For karma kanda, you have the merits for them to alleviate the suffering.
Okay, that's one.
It doesn't remove the
Correct. It doesn't remove the desire to sin. It only removes the effects of sin. It doesn't remove the desire to commit. Karma kanda cannot bring purity of the heart. Correct? For example, if someone goes to a prostitute and he has got, Prabhupada writes that, he has got venereal disease. Because he visits prostitute. He is suffering in pain. Okay. And then somebody in the family advises, boss, ye homam karo, ye puja karo. So maybe he'll get some temporary relief. But after that, what he will do? He will again run to the prostitute. Correct? Adat to gaya nahi hai na. Correct? And that is where this comes. That's why this is. So, aprarabdha with time becomes. Does it make sense? Aprarabdha with time becomes prarabdha. Correct? You are with me? You are with me? Aprarabdha with time becomes prarabdha. That sinful reaction which is stored at a future date, with time, future becomes the present. What is the difference between future and present? Time. Future will become present with time. So when the time comes, then it will start. Right? But karma kand can give some relief. Okay? Even for example, they say ladki ko mangal hai, they will say like that. And then uska kuch nivaran ho sakta hai kya pandit ji, something like that. Abhi wo ladki ko mangal kyun hai? Because of some papa in the past, right? So one is removing that mangal and getting the marriage done. Another is purifying the lady's consciousness so that in future lifetime she never gets hidden in her horoscope. So that is the purification of the heart. So therefore, aprarabdha manifests in two ways. One is the suffering which comes, and one is the desire to sin. So because of sin, what happens? Suffering comes, but because of sin comes desire to sin more. Because ye dil mange more. Correct? Ek cigarette se rukta nahi. Because once you took alcohol, you abuse somebody and you are getting sin. But because now you have got addicted to alcohol, what you will do? That papam means you will get more into alcohol. And when you get into alcohol, what will happen? You will associate with more drunkards. When you associate with drunkards, you will get into illicit sex also. Correct? And they will say, "Arey, ek din jaake casino mein gambling karke aayenge, chalo." Then you will get into that also, right? So sin begets sin. Sin begets sin. So Prabhupada says that by enjoying our senses, if you are thinking that abhi ऐश कर लेते हैं, बाद में we'll exhaust our material desires, and then there will be no material desires, that is foolishness. Because by indulging in sense gratification, we are only pouring fuel on the fire. We are not pouring water on the fire.
This part is not what of the relationship between aprarabdha and kutam.
Relationship between aprarabdha and kutam means that aprarabdha with time manifests as prarabdha. Okay? But what about without time? In future, okay, what happens in future when you do a sin? What happens? In future, you have to pay for it. Correct? That will become prarabdha. But there is another type of reaction which comes. With sin, suffering comes in the form of a proclivity, a tendency, a disposition towards sin. Does it make sense? You are sinfully disposed. कभी-कभी you have seen children also. ये बच्चा हमेशा destructive ही है बचपन से. जो भी दिया तोड़ देता है. Correct? You have seen such children. इनसे पता नहीं क्या किया होगा पिछले lifetime. जो भी दिया तोड़ देता है. It break and kill. Destructive mentality. The child's consciousness itself is or since childhood, you will see the person who is going into a teenager also, the person will always be, showing different kind of consciousness. Maybe getting into fights all the time, criminal activities, enjoying gangs, like that. Since childhood like that. On the other hand, you will see another child, parents didn't do anything much great, but still the child is showing very sattvic tendencies from childhood. Huh? Yeah. We have got such examples also. So, but because we are talking about papam and talking about the negative aspect. So papam leads to what? To tendency to pap, to do papam. जो पाप करता है, पाप करने का जो desire है, that also increases for such a person. Sin leads to sinful disposition. Sinful disposition leads to sinful desire, and sinful desire leads to sin. So what did I say? Please note this down. This is very important to understand. Sin leads to sinful disposition. Sinful disposition culminates in sinful desire. Sinful desire ends in sinful activity. This is like a chakkar, goes round and round. पाप किया, इस पाप करते वक्त मजा आया, and therefore there is some disposition to do that again and again. Okay, generally I am really enjoying killing people. ऐसा मन में है, मारने में मजा आता है, फाइटिंग करने में बहुत मजा आता है. And I know people like that. Even in school I know people. किसी को मारने में बहुत मजा आता है, धो डालने. Correct? We have seen such characters. Yeah? So they are always inclined towards किसी के बांधे चक्कर में फंसने का. एक बार उसने मेरे को कुछ किया नहीं है, लेकिन माँ कसम एक बार हुआ आने दे उसको, ऐसा मारूंगा उसको. Just waiting for one chance. मतलब you are always thinking of violence only in your heart. नया कोई सोसाइटी में आया है, दिखाता हूँ उसको मैं कौन हूँ. अरे उसने कुछ किया ही नहीं. You didn't do anything to you. But even then, because that's a disposition. It's a disposition to get into vanda. गुजराती में क्या बोलते हैं? वांदा वचका. लफड़ा. To get into lafda all the time. The person itself is like that. Or disposition. That's a disposition. And then what happens when you see the new person coming into the society? It becomes a desire. अभी इसको मैं परेशान करता हूँ. Here it was only a inclination. Because you are a sinful person, you are developing an inclination to sin. Now the inclination has culminated in a specific desire. And then you say, my isko maar. And then you go and actually do that activity which is called as papam. And when you do that papam, then aprarabdha, suffering, again leading to. So this is the problem with any philosophy which says that enjoy your senses such that you will not have any desire for sense gratification. It doesn't work like that. The more and more we go and do shopping in Myers, for example, more and more we go and do window shopping, do the desires to window shop reduce or increase? Increase. It will only increase because it will become a habit. Correct? The more and more we are used to upmarket things in our life, will the desires reduce? It will only. Correct?
You have a question. So how do you understand, basically it's a non-ending cycle, and if you don't have any sukriti, so you basically there's no, you're trapped, because you have done the papam, so basically you get the disposition to do the sin, so you will do the sin, and then it's a never-ending cycle. So, and there must be some way, because we haven't done the sukriti. The only sukriti could be, I can see, that the mercy of the devotees, who might come and see your status and preach and say
Yeah. That's what we are coming to. So, ये चक्कर से बाहर कैसे निकले? How do we come out of this cycle? Is a question. That is by because sinful action leads to sinful desire. What is the cause? And sinful action leads to sinful desire, and sinful desire is the cause of. तो कौन सा cause है, कौन सा effect है? Both are causes and both are effects. It's a two-way arrow in one sense. Correct? So it's a recursive loop. If you like in programming language, we call it as recursive loop. The program keeps going back and back. वो बाहर exit नहीं होता है subroutine program. Correct? So it's like that. How do you exit this thing? So the exit route is what? Removing the ignorance of the person. Because it is said that ignorance is the root cause of all sinful action. Sinful action as well as sinful desire.
Probably even if he doesn't have the sukriti, even he might come in contact with the devotee. And he is not interested, he just will move away. So in the, basically then he's continuously trapped. So that's sort of never ending, but the devotees and everyone is so compassionate. Prabhupada wants to remove the avidya. So, but I still can't, until unless he does some sukriti, or he has some sukriti from, he just can't.
That is why those such kind of people are called as Nitya Baddha. Nitya Baddha means what? Eternally conditioned. Nitya Baddha. तो ये लोग इससे बाहर ही नहीं आएंगे, ये चक्कर में। पुनरपि जननम पुनरपि मरणम, keep on rotating in the cycle of birth, disease, old age and death, sometimes doing pious activities, most of the time doing sinful activities, falling down into the animal species, going to the heavenly planets, enjoying Hilton Hotel, again coming back, again doing sinful activities, just going up and down and up and down and up and down. So I'll stop here, today's class. We want to also, there is still some more discussion around this topic on how do we understand why bad things happen to good people given this background. Okay? Because this is the framework for why bad things happen to good people. So we will discuss that in the next class. Why not in the next class? Because I have got good news for you. I'm sure all of you will become very happy. Your exams are due.
Next week,
Excited? Huh? Next week. So next week I will be doing recap of Bhagavad Gita chapters 10 to 14 from an exam point of view. So please come next week without fail. Very important class. Even those of you who are not regularly attending, I would suggest that if you want a gist of Bhagavad Gita or those chapters, this is where we will give the essence of that. So you can come. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.